Right, here's a question from Katie. It's a question that comes up quite a lot, but I will answer it again because it comes up a lot. Right, Katie said, I've been trying to recover for about 5 years now after 10 years of being completely controlled by my eating disorder. At this point, I've watched all of your videos and read every post related to eating disorder recovery. I feel like I know everything about recovery and could honestly write a thesis on it blindfolded. Yet, I still feel very stuck and cannot take the appropriate actions for myself for full recovery, i.e. unrestricted eating and no compulsive movement. Can you explain why this is? And can you explain why this is when I know my life would probably be better if I recovered? Thanks. There's no probably about it, Katie. It would definitely be better if you recovered. Promise. Yeah. So you don't have a knowledge problem. Most people, if they've done any sort of this sort of recovery research, don't have a knowledge problem. Some of us don't even have a knowledge problem when we haven't done any recovery research, because really your body has been telling you what you need to do for a really long time, which is eat and rest. And so most of us always knew that all along, that that's what we really needed to do. At least I kind of know I did. So you don't have a knowledge problem. So stop acting as if you have a knowledge problem, because you don't. Stop looking up recovery resources. Stop trying to research stuff. Just stop it, because it's not, you don't have a knowledge problem. And in a sense, when you're doing that, you're distracting yourself. You can be like, oh, I'm doing recovery because I'm watching a YouTube video. You're not doing recovery if you're watching a YouTube video. You're watching a YouTube video. So don't sort of kid yourself into thinking that you're in recovery when you're not. And you say that, that you need to do unrestricted and no compulsive movement. You're absolutely right. You're not in recovery if you're restricting, and you're not in recovery if you're doing any sort of compulsive movement. So it sounds like you're still doing those things. So you're actually not in recovery, Katie. And I think that you need to make that distinction in your head. You're not in recovery right now. You're just researching recovery. Very different things. You don't need to research recovery because, like I said, you don't have a knowledge problem. You have a fear problem. So fear problems are the hardest type of problem, because fear, by design, is relatively difficult for us to overcome. I say relatively because it's not awfully difficult for us to overcome. It's just quite difficult for us to overcome. If we really put our head to it and we decide, I'm just going to do this, you will. And that is the biggest irony, I think, of all of this, is because for most of us, we spend 4 or 5 years teetering at the edge of recovery, like a little child that's trying to jump off the diving board into the deep end of the big school pool. And we sit there sort of like wobbling at the edge for a really long time. And then when we finally just jump, we're like, oh, well, that wasn't so bad. The water wasn't even that cold. It was fine, really. Not a big deal. Should have done it 5 years ago. And that's what you'll think when you actually properly start doing this. It's always the decision to make the leap that's the hardest thing. When you actually make it, most of us find that recovery isn't as hard as our brains have told us it would all be. And so you don't have a knowledge problem, you have a fear problem. So you're just going to have to take a big breath and jump off the fucking diving board. And I don't care what your brain says about that. We're not going to pay any attention to your opinion for a little while, Katie. Your opinion is not important in this process, because your opinion's disordered, and your opinion's always going to be, don't do it, don't jump off the diving board. So we're not going to pay any attention to that, because your opinion is fear-based at the moment. That'll change as you get recovered, then that fear will go away, and then we can pay attention to your opinion. But for right now, you're just going to have to not pay any attention to your brain. I don't care what your thoughts say. I don't care how many of them you have. I don't care if you get thoughts about it at 100 miles an hour every second of the day. We're not paying any attention to all of that. You're just going to stop thinking, hold your nose if you need to, and jump. Just get the fuck on with it. And as soon as you do that, you'll be doing it, and you'll actually be in recovery. And wouldn't that be a nice thing? Because the quicker you're in recovery, Katie, the quicker you're going to get recovered. And like I said at the beginning, I absolutely promise you that your life won't probably just be better if you get fully recovered. It will definitely be a lot better. So I really hope you do it. Go on, off you go. Go eat. Bye.